everybody. This is David Miazga with David Miazga Films 2014 and RedDeerCityTV.ca. I'm just going to do a short little tutorial on the new ProRes 444QX. I'm just going to show you, I've been using it with After Effects CC. I don't use the new 2014 because I don't, for some reason I can't use my AJA output card to my grading monitor. So I just use the version before that. Okay, so I'll just set up my project. Let's just import a file. We'll do this one here. This is a cowboy poet. On Sunday, I was out at his relative's ranch, and he recited a bunch of poems that he wrote. This old fellow. Anyway, so I just do your basic ACR adjustment. I've already done this one here, and do how you like. And that's why I like this type of workflow. Then we'll just import our audio. And there's probably scripts to do this, but I'm not going to get into that right now. And then bring that in there, bring the audio in. Let's just sync up the audio. And it should be about a 7-frame offset, 7 or 8 frame offset. I use 7-frame delay, and it seems to be fine. But mind you, it's just audio for syncing. So, all right, so that's good enough. Okay, so this is our old fellow. His name is Ken, and he has some pretty good poetry. Now, so now you've done your whatever you want to do in the ACR, and just add your to there, right? And I already had a directory set up. I've already done this one already. I just wanted to show you what I set it up to. So RGB width and alpha, if you want to get your 16-bit. And then, of course, the only thing you have is millions plus colors. Now, I don't know if this affects it or not, or it's just a preset with ProRes that there's no adjustment. Because I know you can go trillions plus with the 444, but with this one, there's an extra bit rate increase, so I guess you don't need that anymore. Codec settings. I leave the gamma correction, automatic gamma correction off. 100% for quality and audio uncompressed. Okay. And there you go. And I do not resize. I leave that when I go into Final Cut. I let Final Cut resize. It does a better job, I think. Okay, so that's it. And there he is. There's your codec. And then just render it out. I've noticed because this is a linear codec, this one. Here it is right here. So it's no more Rec 709, so you're not losing your highlights and your lowlights. There's your codec right there. And the correct size. And I'll just open it up quickly here. Open. And oops. So we're at 370 megabits per second for this at 24 or 2398 frames a second. Normally that would be around 260, 250 normally at a trillions plus color combination. So the big difference is in the highlights and the lowlights. Okay, so now how do I get to use that codec? Well, let's just quit After Effects. What are you going to save? We're going to say don't save, because we've done this already. Okay. So what you need to do is first off, open up, get into your applications. Okay, so where are we here? Final Cut. Let's just get the Final Cut. I imagine you could probably do this compressor too, because it has a codecs too, but not everybody has compressor. So show your package contents. Okay, open up the plugins, and then your compressor folder, right click, and then just right click and show package contents, and go to your plugins. Go to here, components, and there are your latest components. Now I just copied all these here. There's the ProRes one right there, but just to make sure, I just copied this here. We'll just open up to our we'll just go open a new tab, and then in here go to here, go to my libraries, there's our QuickTime, and then I just copied and pasted them over to here. So I took all these codecs and put them over to here. And once I did that, because before I did that, I didn't have, I think it was this one in there before. I don't know, looks like it was probably in there before. Okay, so really that's all you do. And because you put it in your QuickTime, your components, now all the programs will be able to see that codec. Okay, so we'll just fire up do I have Premiere? Yes, I should have Premiere Pro, CC, Adobe After Effects. Oh, here it is right here. And if we fire that up, we should be able to see, read that codec. We'll just start a new project. Yep. Yeah, we just want to do a quick little test, so we don't care about that. Yeah, okay, no problem. So let's bring in that file, and that file would be Cowboy here. There it is. Opening up file, metadata. Don't know if it's going to show us what we want to see. This is our audio, and it doesn't really tell you, but it is reading it, obviously. Let's go back to here. I wonder, import, open info. Here we go. Yeah, it doesn't really know what to make of it, I guess. Import. So properties. Oh, there we go. Tells you how many frames. Oh, there we go. Quality most 5. So yeah. Yeah, there he is. There's the codec right there. So you can actually edit them and use them in your pipeline now. Yeah, there we go. That looks pretty good, guys. So anyways, you can have that in your system. Yeah, so you can have the new Apple linear 16-bit ProRes codec in Adobe now. And I think that is probably a pretty good workflow. So all the new cameras, like the Arri, Amir, and such, are now adopting that new codec, ProRes. So that's one of the reasons Final Cut is doing that. So, okay, so let's open up this file in Final Cut, and I'll just show you what it looks like in Final Cut. Versus comparatively speaking to a Cdng. Actually, we can do that right here in Final Cut. Let's see if I can get to the Cinema DNGs that I made with that. I just got to remember what it was under. All time. Sorry guys. Oh, there he goes. There he is. Cinema DNGs. I think it was this one here. There we go. Importing. There we go. That's the Cinema DNGs. Now that's the difference of the. It's no correction. That's your 16-bit linear, and this is the ACR. Now, of course, in ACR, because I want to have a quick turnaround, basically what I'm doing is, I'm putting a log-like curve on it in ACR, and then I don't have to deal with things in there, but I find that using the, mind you though, Adobe Premiere Pro has a hard time dealing with Cinema DNGs from Magic Lantern. So let's see about info. Yeah, let's see, and you can go, hang on, your browser. Let's import. You'd be able to source, there we go. I don't have much faith in this thing. Oh, there we go. Maybe we'll just cool it down just a bit. Not too much exposure. I think there it goes. Okay. Anyway, so there you go. Let's quit that. No, we're not going to save that. Okay, so I'll just open up Final Cut. And we'll just open up a new project, and I'll just call this test. ProRes 4444 XQ. Okay, so we'll just make it a there we go, and we'll use the render format for this. Usually I'm using 444 as my master. I'm still working with it. I'm trying to figure what the best stuff is. Okay, so now that has been made, and basically what that's saying is that it's using that codec natively, not pre-rendering anything, because I'm using that codec. It's always better to use your pre-render codec with the same codec that you initially started your system with, your project with. At least that's how I find. Cowboy, there we go. There he is. I'll just import it as a keyword collection. Right? And then what I'll do is I'll hang on. Cinema DNGs. We'll just open up Cowboy ProRes. Okay, there we go. Cinema DNGs. This is the file here. And so we'll just import that as a key collection. And of course, Final Cut love to bring them in at 10 seconds. There we go. That's Cinema DNG's ones. And then there's your. Here's the ones I want. And there it is right there. Versely. So what we'll do, since I'm almost there already, we'll just highlight that one. And then we'll just bring it in. And just append it to the timeline. Turn this off. Highlight him. So that few seconds is actually turned into an hour of footage. Thank you, Final Cut, for making things difficult. Okay. And then change duration to 1. Hit enter. Then new compound clip. Okay. And I'm screen recording at the same time, so bear with me if it seems a little boggy. Alright, so there is our Cinema DNG in a compound clip. That's how I deal with my raw data in Final Cut. And so here is the other thing. What are we doing here? Oh, transcoding. And so there we go. Other than my color correction and some lens correction, as you see, Final Cut handles it quite nicely. And so if I can get my file into the right format, the right color, then pre-grading is the way to go. Okay, so that is my ProRes file, XQ, and you can see the bandwidth on there. So you can see it's quite linear, 0 to 255. And here's the Cinnamon DNG. The same difference, but just a little bit different how I've pushed my blue highs, right? And dropped my blue lows, as you can see. As you can see here. And then we have some below. So I just retained the file slightly without losing a whole bunch. Now, while I'm here, I want to show you a couple things here. One thing in particular that I find quite interesting with the new Final Cut is if you go into your info, your file, and you go to settings, and then over here, now you can put your camera in here, or you can do it over here and put your camera, you can put it in. That's not what I'm interested about. Is you used to have a color space control here, and they've taken it out and they've changed it slightly, and now this is what you got. So if you're using so in Final Cut, if you're using that codec, this comes up with any other ones, but if you're on any of these cameras, you do have native log support. I've been using, I played with the Canon one a bit. Oh, that's way out of whack. And of course you can play around with that. But being there's really no IDT, no transformation coupler from the or there's no information from the sensor to calibrate that properly to log. So if you're on these cameras, you can get into a log format with Final Cut now. And so I thought that was kind of nice and kind of interesting. And in the same thing here, we don't have... How come we don't have any color space? Oh, they don't give us... Imagine if I go into the... just pick a frame. And yeah, there we go. Okay, so they retain that. So for photographs, for photo images, Cdngs, you can still set your color space, Adobe RGB, which it is. So it would always default back to that. Or you can go to a Rec 709, or you can go with none, or you can go with these other color spaces. So with the Cdngs, you can override the color space. And it did pick up the my camera and my custom camera name that I put in there. So that's kind of interesting with Final Cut, but it still displays them incorrectly with 60p, and these are 1856 by 928. So for some reason Final Cut does that. Okay, so there you go, guys. Just do a quick rundown and a little bit on the new Final Cut Pro 10 1.2 about Final Cut 10.1.2 and the new ProRes 444 XQ codec. Well, there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope, you know, things go well. All right, this is David Miazga with David Miazga Films and RedDeerCityTV.ca 2014. Happy shooting.